What's good, everybody? Today we got a little crazy story for y'all. I see y'all like the first one about my Jordan 4s. That was a pretty funny story. Now we got another one. And you see a little vintage vibes today. So yeah, it's a little throwback. We got the Air Jordan 1 Bread Toe. These came out a long time ago. But you see I be wearing my shoes, bro. I haven't worn these in a minute, but they're still in type decent condition. But it's a funny story how these even got in the closet. So without further ado, man, we gonna get straight into it. So these came out, I think, like 2015, 2016. I really don't remember. But I remember this was when I was around 15, 16, and I was a real young bull. And this was like very fresh on my resale journey, bro. And at the time when I first started reselling, Jordan 1s was just the peak of everything, bro. If you got a Jordan 1, everybody wanted Jordan 1. Jordan 1s were easily $150, $200 profit. Easily, bro. And back then too, reselling was still on the up and come up. StockX wasn't invented at the time. Everything was just low key, right? And so you could type decent, get a decent amount of pairs, bro. It's just if you was plugged in and this and that, right? And so back then, like I said, I was a young bull when it came to the reselling. So I didn't really know too much about anything because there wasn't really anybody that could really teach me. You feel what I'm saying? But on Twitter, that's where I met some of my OGs. They put me on a lot of game. And so one of the things that one of like OGs would tell me, because like backdooring, saying low-key plugs, this and that, everything was not really common knowledge to everybody in the sneaker world. So I had one guy, his name was Zay. Shout out to Zay, man. But he would put me on everything because he would backdoor all the time, and I'm just like, bro, how do you do it? He was probably like 30 years old, bro, talking to like a 16-year-old kid, which is crazy. But he always, from the first like 4 years, actually like all through high school, and I think maybe like after I graduated, it kind of just distanced because I grown to myself. But he would always help me. So shout out Zay, and he would tell me like he would backdoor because it was really strict, one per person, And me being a kid, I wasn't out my comfort zone yet, so I didn't really know how to get more than one, but I was just fiending for it, right? And so he would always tell me, man, he's like, in order to get the back door, you gotta look cool, you gotta make friends with the manager, the employees, you gotta, you know what I'm saying, be bold, you sound like you know what you're doing. And so that's it. So I was like, this is the shoe that I'm going to take his advice on, and I'm going to try it, bro. So it was release day, and mind you, everything is low key. So you could just walk into the store back then and potentially, you know what I'm saying, get it. And again, I was not as knowledgeable, so I didn't know, like, bro, you shouldn't be waiting till release day to start asking questions. But it is what it is, right? So 15, 16-year-old me, I'm putting on my best fit. I really don't, I think my best fit back then was I had a black shirt with gold lettering. I had a red and black flannel. And then I had the skinny jeans, real skinny, because it's 2015, 2016. And my Supreme up-tempos. Anytime I wanted to flex on somebody or I was trying to show out, these all gold Supreme up-tempos, and I would wear those. So I came in buttered up, and I walked into the mall. I walked into Stonebriar, and this is with my mom because I'm still getting Ubered around, chauffeured, things like that because I'm a young bull. So me and my mom, we walk into the Shoe Palace, and literally nobody is in the store, bro. And I'm like, what the heck? So we just walk around the store 2 times. And still nobody's in the store. And then the guy, he finally comes out from the back. He's like, oh, my fault, man. How y'all doing? Da, da, da. And I was like, oh, we're good. And then I was looking at my mom, because honestly, my mom, she's very supportive, and she'll take control of a situation if she feels like I can't do it. But also at the same time, my mom be wanting me to do stuff on my own. And shout out to her, because it pushed me to where I am now. So I gave it a look like, can you talk to him, ask him about the shoes? And she gave me that look back like, nah, this your job. And as soon as I seen the look, I said, all right. You know what I'm saying? I stood up, shoulders broad, and I was like, hey, man. My voice was always deep, so I was like, hey, man, y'all got them Air Jordan 1 Bread Toes? He was like, how many pairs do you need? And that caught me so off guard. He said, how many pairs? So I'm thinking he like BSing, right? So I throw out a number. I just said, I need 5 pairs. He said, okay, what sizes? I'm like, is this a dream, bro? And mind you, bro, this is 2015, 2016. So any pair that I touch And retail was only 160, I think, after 173.15 after tax. So anything that I'm touching, 250 minimum. You know what I'm saying? And the highest I say peak was like 350, depending on the sizes. And again, I'm a young bull, so I didn't really know what sizes was the most profitable. And back then, this was before they made the law that you couldn't import from China. So all the Chinese people, they was rocking with the Air Jordan 1s, and so that meant they all got small feet. So any 7.5 to 9.5, oh my God, you're making 350 easily. And then don't even get me started about grade school. You can make 350. You can sell it for 352, and retail is even more cheaper. But see, I didn't know. I thought, well, 13s are harder to get because they don't make as many. So I told him, I said, let me just get all 12s and 13s. He was like, all right. This man did not have a care in the world, and obviously nobody else cared because he was the only person in the store. So he really didn't have somebody looking over him. So I guess he was just trying to get his sales for the day and call it a day. And mind you, I was the only customer in the store too. So he said, sure. So he brought out 5 pairs. I didn't even have the money back then, but my mom, like I said, she was really supportive. She would let me borrow her Amex card, and she let me get out that little loan. You know what I'm saying? A little temporary loan. And so he brought out like 2 13s, 2 12s, and I think he didn't have enough so he brought out 11.5. And we bought all 5 pairs, and he was just like, you just got to do them individually so I don't get flagged. And I was like, oh, look, as long as I'm getting the 5 pairs. And so I was like, I just felt like the man when I walked through. Shout out Rich Hobie. You dig what I'm saying? Shout out Rich Hobie. I felt like the man. I'm boom, 1 bag in the left hand, 1 bag in the right hand. I didn't even give none to my mom. I'm just walking out. This me. And boy, I couldn't wait to get home to post it on Twitter, because back then I didn't have like a name established yet. So Twitter was like, and again, StockX wasn't a thing back then either. So Twitter was like go-to selling place to get your shoes off, for real. And so I was like, I'm hyped to go on Twitter, post it, let the OGs see it, see that I'm really cooking up. Oh boy, I was so geeked, bro. And then, so when I told Zay about it, he was like, but why'd you get 12s and 13s? He was like, 7.5 through 9.5 is most profitable. I said, I didn't even know. I was just so happy to get them. I just bought them. He was like, shit, it's cool. He's like, now all you got to do is find a way to sell them. Because I did tell him, I said, I am on borrowed time because I did use my mama's Amex and she do not play, especially with that credit score. You dig what I'm saying? And so Zay, he helped me out. Shout out to Zay again. And he let me sell all of them all at once. And so I was super geeked. And that was my first welcome to the game moment. But it don't stop there. Right? So this was my first taste. I've seen the shoe in person. And mind you, I never had a pair of Jordan 1s before at this point. Like I said, I'm still super fresh in the game. So I sold all my pairs. I'm just worried about profit. You know what I'm saying? Just making this thing work. Now, we fast forward a little bit to maybe a week or 2 later, and the homage to home Jordan 1s are finna come out. So just keep that in mind. Now, it's just a regular day, a regular school day. I'm coming back from school, and my mom's like, hey, have you talked to your dad recently? And a little background, I wouldn't say that my dad was absent in my life, but we just didn't have the best relationship. Like, we didn't really have nothing to talk about. And then once I moved states with my mom, connection was just bad. And I just always have this bad thought about him. So we just gonna leave it at that. So I'm like, nah, I ain't talking, bro. What buddy got to talk about? I ain't talking about nothing to him. And she was like, well, he had a near health incident, and it just made him realize some things, and he just wants to get close to you. And mind you, like, I'm fit. I think I was like 16, about to turn 17 at this point, low key. So I'm like, nah, I'm almost finna be grown. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna be 18. He ain't been here my whole life. I don't care about nothing he gotta say. And my mom, mind you, we all from Chicago. So everybody, even like my mom, my dad, my sister, and me, I felt like all 4 of us, we have completely different personalities. But one thing we do got is a Chicago hustling mentality. And we each display it in our own unique ways, which I actually do like about our family, because it does come up a lot. And so my mom, trying to be the hustler and convince me to get a relationship with my dad, she was like, and the reason, before I say what she told me, The reason she did this was because she learned early on that nothing motivated me more than money. She would whoop me, she would ground me, all types of stuff, but nothing motivated me more than money. So there would be a lot, later on when I grew up, she would start taking money away from me instead of whooping me. And boy, I hated that. And I got my act together, bro, because I hated that. But anyways, this is why she said what she's gonna say. She said, I think you just need to give him a chance. She was like, your dad gonna spoil you. Anything that you ask for, he gonna give it to you. You could even ask for a pair of shoes. And she got me. She got me, boy. She knew exactly what to say. And I was like, oh, really? And I was like, well, I guess I'll give him a call. And you know how parents be, before they even have the conversation with you, whole time they done already had the conversation between themselves. So when I ended up calling my dad, we had our conversation, smooth things out. And then he just slightly brought up a pair of Jordan 1s. He was like, oh no, he's like, what you think about them? I see you doing a little reselling business. I was like, it's going good. He's like, what you think about them Jordan 1s coming on the app? He never called sneakers, he all call it the app. He's like, what you think about them homage to homes coming out next week? You like them? I was like, yeah. And then he an old head too, and he's low-key, not even low-key, he is best friends with Don C, so he be knowing all the history of shoes. So it's actually really crazy that I even started a path of sneakers without really having a close relationship with my dad, even though I wouldn't say that's what he did, but he was super deep into it. And so he started giving me the history, make me want the shoe more and this and that. He was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and get it for you. I was like, oh, man. I said, my mama knew what she was talking about, but the whole time they had already talked about it. She probably on the phone with him, like, need to just buy him a pair of shoes. Like, you can start there. Knowing my mama, that's exactly how the combo went. And so, fast forward to the homage to homes, when they come out, he called me, he was like, yeah, I want them, but I didn't realize, he was like, I bought the wrong size. I said, dang, how you buy the wrong size? He was like, because, he's like, all I did was see a 13 and I bought it, but I didn't see it was a 13 women's. So I actually bought you 11 and a half. And that right there, everything that my mama said, everything that my daddy said, boy, everything did not matter at that point, because I was like, ain't no way that you just messed up. Because I thought the homage to homes were so hard. And especially since I didn't have these, I was like, oh no, I need the homage to homes, bro. Because any red and black shoe in general in that area, bro, that's fire to your collection, bro. Especially, and I just needed a Jordan 1 in general. If you had a Jordan 1 period in your collection, you're him at that time. And so I was so blown from that, bro, because I'm like, it's not a women's shoe. So it's like you didn't even put no effort into really trying, bro. Or you probably just didn't remember my size and you thought I was 11 and a half, because my foot was big for I'm tall. So my foot was big for the age that I was at. So I was like, bro, he don't really care for real. So I was like, you can go ahead. He was like, I'll just still take them. He's like, you can sell them or whatever and buy you a new pair if you want to do it like that. And I was like, yeah, that's what I do. And so he ended up sending me the homage to homes. And actually, it worked out in my favor, because back then I was really trying to establish my name for real. So like I said, I was worried about profit and selling as much as I can. So I was able to get another pair of shoes to sell. So I was able to post the homage to homes, and those were type decent to hard to get. So I was like, oh, it's kind of a flex. Posted them, sold them, and then, mind you, I had bulk sell these. So shout out to Zay. But since I barely made any money off of it, it was really dumb, because I ended up selling the homage to homes to buy back these, because I was like, nah, I was supposed to end up with a shoe. So I said, I'm going to end up with a shoe regardless. And so the guy that I ended up selling the bulk pairs to, he ended up selling it back to me. He didn't sell it to me for the full price, but I still got charged resale, which is what it is, but I ain't really tripping. And that's how I ended up with the bread toe ones. So, if you're ever wondering what happened to the Shoe Palace manager, because I was like, so after this whole transition, right, I was like, oh wow, I just did my first bulk sell. I got a pair of shoes that was hard to get, and I got back the shoe that I originally really wanted. You feel what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, and I said the next step is, I said, I can really get used to this back door. I said, I'm going to take Zay's advice again, and I'm going to go back to that store and apply for a job. I said, so I'm going to be killing two birds with one stone. I'm going to get the job, and I'm going to be using that manager So, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously he don't care. And it sounds like he the one in charge. So I can just get away with everything. And my business will boom from that point on. So I applied. I got a little interview. And I got the job. And so my first day on, I'm like, yo, where's bro? They was like, oh no, we don't talk about bro. He actually got fired. He got caught stealing from the safe. And I just said, oh. And the manager, and I didn't like this new manager. His name was Vinny. I really don't care about name drop because I actually hated Vinny. Vinny was, he had short man syndrome. He was Italian and was like 5'5". I hated him. But he saw that I didn't have no real shock in my tone when I said, oh, you know him or something? He was like, that's not really good if we just hired you on. I said, no, I was just curious because I bought some shoes from him just as a regular customer. But I didn't self-snitch and tell him how he gave me 5, you know what I'm saying, 5 of them things instead of 1. And so I actually ended up getting a job at Shoe Palace, and so this actually sequenced into the story that I told before, because the whole time I was working at Shoe Palace, bro, we never got any shoes. And later on I learned that it was because our sales were so low. And so the Jordan 1 Pine Green, the one that I mentioned in the video before that I had to, you know what I'm saying, work my way through. That was the only shoe that I was able to get from that Shoe Palace. And I had to do some things to get that shoe. But yeah, it's just crazy, bro. These shoes, bro, they have a story to them. It's actually pretty funny. Actually somewhat enjoyed working at Shoe Palace. We just didn't get any shoes because our sales were just so low. Obviously, they have to do with the rebuilding of management and stuff like that. But I actually love the bread toe ones. And I used to wear, you can tell, like I wore these heavily, bro. Anytime I would try to flex at school, anytime I went on a date, there was like a whole period of time, bro. Anytime I went on a date, I had to wear a pair of Jordan 1s. And I feel like these were my favorite ones and my best one. My favorite color is red. So I always loved these. And these always had the best leather. Even you can see like leather right now, almost 10 years later, the leather is still good. Obviously, I got them creased to death. But shout out to the bread toes. And it's sad that I probably will, I don't know, when the next time I wear these, because now I have the patent leather ones and Jordan 1s are out of style. But like I said, bro, these stories are always going to be attached to them, so I can never get rid of them, and I always love them. So if you enjoyed that story, man, I think that was a pretty funny story. I guess I didn't end it with my dad. I still talk to my dad to this day, and actually this same situation actually happened probably like a good 2. It for sure happened one other time because I vividly remember it, and I was more mad at him than this one. And I guess I'll do that story later. So if y'all want that one, make sure to like and subscribe, all that. But no hate to my dad, man. Cool guy. We just don't have the strongest relationship. And it came to, now that I'm a grown man, I just kind of understand him more not as a person, but I just understand the situation. I don't resent him for anything. You know what I'm saying? If he calls, I'll pick up, and vice versa. But I live in Texas, he lives in Chicago, so we don't really communicate that much. But more of the story, man, always just see what your parents talking about, bro. Just always see what they talking about. You never know what you might get out of the situation. And honestly, it might work better for you whether you think it is or not. Because like I said, the whole situation, I ended up getting a sale and a shoe for myself versus just a shoe that I wasn't going to be able to sell. And looking back on it, I would rather have these than the homage to homes, just because I feel like that's a shoe that you buy when you already have other shoes. This shoe you can wear consistently. That shoe, I feel like you have to wait for a certain moment, or you can wait to bring it out. So it all works out for a reason. So just tap in with your parents, even if you don't got the best relationship with them. And you never know, you might get a new pair of Jordan 1s, man. So that's it for the story time. If y'all like it, man, I like these videos, man. So let me know if y'all, like I said in my first one, I said pick any shoe, bro. I have a big collection, so there's a lot of shoes that I can talk about in my collection, but there is a lot of other shoes too that I didn't keep personally. I have some crazy stories attached to them. So just comment a shoe, and then if I have a story attached to it, I'm gonna go ahead and make that the next video. So yes, sir. So with that being said, man, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.